So this is a very short introduction to Trello, which is a task manager, but it's also a lot more because it's a great presentation. But it will allow you, it will give you an area in which you can think about your projects and your tasks and the things that have your attention. You can see there's a workspace here with a number of boards that I've established, and I'm just going to create a new board called test, which is in my workspace, just to demonstrate some of the things that Trello can do. So the first thing is that you've got lists. So what I'm going to do is just create 3 lists: now, next, and soon, which are timeline sort of lists rather than projects. And you can add a card. So what is a card? Now, traditionally we thought maybe a card could be a task, which it could be, but it may also be an area of focus. So it's something that you're focusing on, and it's got sub items. So if that's the case, you can create a checklist within here so that this card acts as a sort of multi-item list. So in this checklist you can have a number of things which you can obviously then check off. So that's great. If this is a project, you can obviously change the name of things. Then you can have various stages, or you can just have simple things like shopping. So in Trello you can also use labels, which are quite nice graphical colours. So if you want to show that something is important, for instance, you just add the label important. You've got complete flexibility over the names of these labels, and they will appear on the card front. Now Trello is obviously in kanban view, so if I have another card here, I can move these items around, and I'm obviously moving from now to next and inverse. So if these are all the things I'm focusing on, I can just move these around quite easily. In Trello it's called table view. Now you see there are other types of views here which are useful once you start to schedule. So for instance, if I want to use the calendar view, I've got nothing on here right now because none of my cards have got due dates. If I put a due date onto here, so this might be due in a couple of days, I get that due date coming on with a time, and then when I go back to my calendar view, obviously this project I'm saying now is due in a couple of days. There's also this timeline view, which is quite handy. You see here that when you enable the option here, that you get the buttons just to come down to the timeline view, and that's quite nice because it's you see things in order basically. And if I add another item here, I see here that it's not scheduled, so I can just drag it onto the timeline view and have it scheduled afterwards. Now this calendar view can be synced to your personal calendar. So if I want to do that, I just enable that link. Then I can copy that into my calendar. I can add it as a calendar from a URL. It says the calendar is created. If I just display this calendar, you can see that project now and item B that I've established in here are now scheduled on my Google Calendar. So that's pretty handy. One little drawback is you can't move things directly from the calendar, but you can easily move them around from here. The only thing I would say is that the sync time, although it looked quite fast, if you change things, is actually a bit slow. So those are the three sort of main views. You've got board view, table view, which is things just in a list. So you can actually move these around so that they're in order as well in a list, which is quite handy. The calendar view, which obviously shows things in a calendar. And then this timeline view, which enables you quite nicely to be able to schedule things one after the other. Now, one quite handy thing that you can do with Trello is you can easily paste URLs into the card. So you might have some reference information. And in these comments, you can then easily paste a URL. Here I've got a document in Google Docs. Just copy that link and then paste it into the comment. And then that's obviously available there to open on a single click.